this campaign, Pippa, is about trying to gently encourage, press gang, inspire people to contemplate becoming not athletes, but another route which maybe hasn't been highlighted enough before, the route which leads them down a similar sort of path that Tim took. This is interesting. The relationship with you two is interesting because he was a young rookie when you took him on.
He was.
Yeah.
I think, I needed somebody to actually train against, and I was looking for somebody who was a reasonable quality archer, and I'd shot with Tim on the Welsh team, and I thought, well, he'd make a pretty good training partner. So I approached him at sort of one Christmas and said, basically, do you think you could shoot with me on a regular basis? And that's where it all started from. I just needed some competition. But as we worked together, I realised that he had some really, really amazing qualities. He was a coach, not terribly experienced coach at that point, but he had an incredible eye for spotting detail. And I thought that was something that could really help me. And so after a period of time, I was looking for a new coach because my coach at the time was in Lancashire, long distance away. And I thought, well, maybe we could grow together through the whole process, and that he could be somebody who was willing to learn, and we could move forward together to, well, World Championships and ultimately Beijing at the time was the main focus.
As steep a challenge that Pippa faces on the line, is your challenge of helping or assisting Pippa to achieve her wildest dreams, is that scary? Is the responsibility of this isn't lost on you, but how scary is that?
It can be scary, and being a coach is it's a very lonely job in certain sports. You do it, you start out for the love of the sport and you put a little bit back into the clubs and so on. But then when someone asks you to take hold of their dreams and work with them to achieve those dreams that may fail, you have a huge responsibility. I think what you need to do is, and what I've done, is I haven't worked as an island, as a sole person. I've gone, okay, if I can't do something, I'll bring someone else in to help me. I'll ask advice from other people, and I'll surround myself, if I can. Even before I became professional and paid for this job, as a volunteer, I surrounded myself with the knowledge I knew was out there. Never be too proud to go and ask for that help. But you are helping someone achieve a goal, and if there's no money in it or anything, the main thing with all sport is you're doing it for the love of winning at the elite level. At the lower levels, it's partaking in the sport, it's doing something you love, and to help someone achieve, it could be the simplest thing, just to hit, if it's a target, just to hit the target, not hit the middle, hit the target. That is your thing. I don't like the word rewarding with stuff like that, especially working with disabled. You get the word rewarding used a lot. That is wrong. I'm not a carer. I'm not here to help these guys do certain things. I'm here to turn these guys into medal-winning machines at my level. And I push them hard to do it. It's inspiring. It's inspiring to see people do it. And it's challenging. It's a lot of things. But the task and the thanks is the fact that you're helping someone achieve something that's quite intangible. It's their dreams, it's inside their head and their heart, and that's something you don't get with any other job.
One of the things that I do as part of my preparation is I have a collection of photos on my iPod of all the people who've helped me get to that point, and that actually gives me, it's partly a feeling of responsibility to them to put in my very best performance, because they've all helped get me to that point. But beyond that, your focus, I think, has to be very technical, because you need to shoot 12 perfect arrows. And so you can't, that's, preparation beforehand is fine. You use whatever, you can use music, you can use photos of your support people, but when you're actually on that line and you have those 12 arrows to shoot, it's like being in a bubble where the world becomes silent. I have a countdown timer. I tend to concentrate on the countdown timer, and you just know that your hand has to be just so on the bow, and the arrow has to be right, and your focus is so intense, not even on the red and the blue and the black, but on that little yellow bit in the middle. And it's like shooting down a drain pipe. It's like the whole world shrinks into this kind of little bubble, and you know, it's about refining your focus, and you can train to do that. But that's what you do for those 8 minutes. Is you need to be technically perfect. You need to have that drain pipe focus. And I become quite insular almost. I know that there are archers out there who almost concentrate on their opponent, on the wanting to beat their opponent, whereas I just want to score the maximum score, because then they won't be able to beat me, because I will be the best.
I've got to ask, how did you find out that you were more than quite good at drain pipe concentration? How did you get into archery?
My husband, so it's actually quite a funny story, because I used to swim when I was a kid, so I'd always been reasonably competitive, but I basically wasn't quite good enough to get to sort of top level, and I gave up sport for a number of years. And after I got married, my husband used to go out on a Tuesday down the pub and on a Wednesday to do this. And he said to me, "Oh, you never do anything." He said, "You know, you ought to get out of the house." And so I thought, sport, I'd like to try a sport. What can I do? And I mean, you know, having a disability, I was never going to be doing sort of marathon running or hurdling or anything like that. So I thought, archery, let's have a go at that. Phone up a local club, said, could I go, you know? And they said, yeah, we meet social club. Afterwards, we all go for a pint. And so for a number of years, that's what I did. I went to a local club once a week, chucked a few arrows down there, and had a pint afterwards, and just generally enjoyed archery at grassroots level. And then somebody said, why don't you enter a competition? You're doing all right at this. And I entered a competition. I did okay. Competed for a couple of years at a low level, just local things. And then I picked up the archery magazine that's published, I think it's once a quarter, and they had qualifying scores for British team. And I looked at the qualifying scores and I thought, they're not very far away. They're not very far away from what I'm doing. If I was to actually try and get some training and work a little bit, maybe I could get the scores. And within 12 months, I'd got the scores. I got onto the development squad. Another 12 months, I went to my first World Championships, came back silver. And that was 10 years ago. I've been to 5 World Championships now. I've medalled at each one. So, but it's about finer and finer detail. That's what it's about. You know, you start off, you learn how to hit the target. Then you learn how to hit the target every single time you shoot. And then you learn how to get all your arrows in a group smaller than the black, then smaller than the blue. And you do that by smaller and smaller details. And even at this level, now we're looking at my bow handle at the moment, where just the angle of my hand, how much difference that will make to the spread of my group. I'm trying to reduce my group from this size to this size to this size. Finer and finer and finer detail, further you go up the ladder.
I guess it's giving your husband something to chat about in the pub, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. Yes, yeah. He doesn't know what he started.